To learn to live the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Click the bell notification. It's all free. Okay, so before I start talking about Biden's warning to the off-grid community, somebody asked me a question about my water system and how it works. I've talked about this several times, but since there was a question specifically asked, thought I'd go through it again. It's been a while. I have a deep well. Just like any homeowner would have a deep well. I realize there's shallow wells also, but this is a standard deep well. Of course, it was dug in the 70s or maybe even the 60s, so it's not as deep as modern wells, but it's 130 feet deep. And so I have a deep well pump. It's just a long cylindrical thing. You can see the wire there. There's a wire right there. That's 110. I bought it off Amazon. It's a 110 volt pump, which is kind of odd. Usually they're 220, which worked really good for me because I start up my generator, or I can plug it into my inverter so I can run it on solar also, but today's so cloudy I got to run the generator, and it runs the pump. And so the pump pumps it up into this black hose. I've got two different hoses. I got a green hose to water the garden or whatever, and then I have the white RV hose because that doesn't transfer any chemicals. And then I run the white hose into a series of 3 filters, and they're just standard house filters. Yeah, one of them is just a regular sediment filter. The other 2 are charcoal filters. You can buy them at Walmart for like $8 a piece. They're not very expensive. And so I just run this hose over to that tank. As you can see, I'm just gonna walk the hose over to the tank. It's not a complicated system. I do this once a day just because I can, but it's a 275 gallon tank, so I could actually go about 2 weeks with it. Although since we've moved out of the camper, we've used a lot more water than we used to. And I know you're not gonna be able to see it, but you can buy these little RV pumps for like $30. So I just hooked the RV pump up to the tank, and then so the water is then pumped from the tank into the water heater in my house, which is just a small on-demand, it's a camping water heater is what it is, on-demand water heater. And so there's the water heater. So you can see the hose that comes into the house, into the water heater. It's propane, and you just kick it on and the water immediately heats up instantly. So somebody asked, could you do that with a hand pump also? You can buy hand pumps now that have a hose on it so that you can pump it like that. What I've noticed though with hand pumps is the further you have to push that water, the harder it is. I used to have this little fish pond that I made out of one of those 1980s satellite dishes. They were huge. And I had this little, I don't know, 20-foot well, and it had a hand pump on it. And it took everything I had to pump that well from that hand pump. Now, one of the things I did, and you'll see this black pipe, about 30 feet down, I drilled a small hole in that pipe. And the reason I did that is in the wintertime, I don't want that pipe to freeze. So all that water will drain back down into the well that's in the black pipe. It'll drain out of there. So the pipe is always empty. It has no chance of ever freezing. So as I was saying is the president has given us a pretty stern warning. As you know, last year, we were getting settled in onto the property. Property was a huge mess. Go to my homepage on my YouTube channel and you'll see the day that we came onto the property. I walked the property, and now it's pretty clean. I mean, there's still things to do, but we got our gardens and we got our solar panel. And for those that are gonna say that the solar panels need to come off the ground, they stay cooler in the summertime sitting right there than they do off the ground. And then during the winter time, we built the tiny house. That took from, I guess, September all the way till January. We already had the floor down before September. We got that done, I think, in June. And then so this year, the whole focus has been food. We've been trying to develop a self-sustaining food process. We're nowhere near being completely self-sustaining. But my feeling is we're a lot further than most people. We got our chickens. Having the chickens is a 2-food process. It's meat and it's eggs. We already raised our meat chickens. We got 25 meat chickens last June, I think. We raised them, we butchered them, and we canned them. We've got 4 different age groups of chickens in there right now, and 2 of the age groups are producing eggs. So we should be getting about 7 eggs a day. Now it's starting to shorten on the length of day, and as the days shorten, they don't produce as many eggs. So we're balancing out. We're still getting the same amount of eggs as we always have been. People will tell you to put a light bulb in there. We could put a light bulb in there. I could put an LED light, but there's no reason to stress them out. And then of course we've been working on our garden. We got all that cleaned up there behind the camper. I got to clean the camper up too. But we got all that cleaned up there this last year to see if we could get more sunlight on the garden. And we had a very successful test garden this year. We didn't plant a lot of seeds, but we planted a lot of variety. Beans and peppers and tomatoes and watermelons and all of it. And it was very successful. So that means this winter I'm going to clean the rest of it up. This won't be hard to clean up. I'll just take the chainsaw in there and knock it down. And then I don't even have to worry about it. I can take my time once it gets knocked down, and I can come up in the logs. I got a couple cedar trees in there I got to get out. And that'll give us a corn garden. We've already got our corn seeds, peaches and cream, that's a hybrid. I got 800 seeds, I think. And that'll give us like, I don't know, 150 pint jars of corn. Then we'll plant green beans everywhere. Just anywhere we can find a spot, we're gonna plant green beans. Of course, we can plant green beans right along the corn right here. That'll give us several plants. And that should give us, I'm hoping, 50 or 60 pint jars of green beans. So that's pretty much how I want to do things. That's my vegetable. The chickens are my meat and eggs. Now the thing with eggs is you can make noodles with that, so you get egg noodles. So we can have chicken noodle soup almost every day. That's key, because you're going to get your proteins and everything you need in one meal. And the eggs, producing egg noodles, is very filling. So, and then we've got, I forget how many pounds of flour, vacuum sealed. So that won't be a problem. We'll have plenty of flour to make egg noodles. So the only thing that we're really missing to be completely self-sustaining is a way to feed the chickens. So what we've been experimenting with is sorghum. And we had quite a bit of success with this. This was completely by accident. I've told you in the past that the chickens spilled some food, their scratch food. The chickens used to be over here. And this grew all by itself. And it's regrowing also. So like this right here was from the chicken spilling. This was from the seeds falling down. So it's reproducing. So we're thinking that we're gonna grow some sorghum, and of course we can throw some corn seed out there. And that'll give us food for the chickens if things really got bad and we had to be self-sustaining. Right now, I'm not seeing chicken feed go up in price. We just went like 2 days ago, and chicken feed is $12. I mean, it may have went up $0.50, not much, if it went up at all. But that being said, I have a plan just in case something goes wrong. We'll throw some of that out. Now, corn is good for chickens in the wintertime. It fattens them up, and so they'll have more body heat, more insulation to keep them warm in the winter. Don't give them corn in the summer, they'll get too big and they'll overheat. Raising chickens in the wintertime is a lot easier than raising chickens in the summertime. So I feel like that we got everything we need pretty much to be self-sustaining. We have a rooster. I think we actually have 2 roosters. One just got mature enough, I think he's crowing. And Carolyn said, let's keep him. And I agree with that. If they don't fight, if the 2 roosters don't fight, that'll give us fresh DNA, so we won't have, you know, daughters and fathers breeding with each other. We can get a little bit of variety. That way, if we can't buy more meat chickens in the future, we can just reproduce our own chickens. So recently, I've made 2 videos about our vice president warning us that we're gonna have a very tough Christmas. The ships out on the West Coast not being unloaded is causing huge supply shortages. We can argue what's doing it. It doesn't matter what's doing it. It's happening, and we need to figure out what to do about it so we don't suffer from it. Then I made another video explaining that I don't understand why everybody's so upset with me about making that video. Oh, you talked about the vice president. I do want to listen. If she says, warning, something's gonna happen, I like to be a little bit prepared. Well, you know she's a liar. How is she a liar? There are ships stuck out of there. We're not getting the things that we need. Things are in short supply. I just find it funny that people don't connect the dots. she said something, it's happening, but she's still a liar because she's not part of your political party. Look, I don't care what your political affiliation is, and I don't want you to know mine either. But we need to listen if something's actually happening that they're actually telling us. It's obviously a truth. To back up her claim, our president the other day did get on stage and talk to us about the supply shortages. That this is real. There's no trucks available, and again, I don't want to get into all the politics of it and any of that, but whatever the reason is, product is not moving. It's sitting out on the coast, not moving. So now we have the president saying the same thing, that Christmas, we're not going to get the kind of things that we want. So here's what I've been trying to tell everybody. Whether you believe the White House or not, things are in short supply. We see it in the grocery store aisles, we're seeing it in the Walmart stores, we're seeing it everywhere. So stop worrying about Christmas is my suggestion, and start worrying about how to eat, because that's where we really need to focus. We're not even going to have to worry about Christmas if we're not alive because we haven't eaten. I can tell you that I'm taking this warning quite seriously, but I took this warning even before it all happened. I was pretty sure that the pandemic was going to cause us issues. So another suggestion is make your Christmas presents. If you want to do something for Christmas, make it. Might make a nice meal for Carolyn, something like that. So I hope I can inspire you to live free and happy so you can live your dream. Thanks for watching.